Ephesus Communications presents To the Survivors, written by Biola Olatunde, inspired by the book of same title written by Robert Otaro. Today's title is Nighttime is for Horror. Hello. Remember those old television programs of Tales by Moonlight? Did your mom ever tell you stories before she tucked you into bed? Is your dad a figure of joy, protection, and offers you a sense of security? Whenever you felt frightened, do you run home to any of your parents? Can you talk to them? That is the picture every child should have of their parents. A haven from life's confusion. Is that the story I'm about to share? Wish I can say yes.
Good morning, Uncle.
Morning, Choma. You are not going to school today?
No, Uncle Greg.
I see. You also didn't go to school most of last week. Hope things are okay.
Yes, Uncle, things are fine.
So, what class are you really?
GSS2, Uncle, and I will be going to the science class in my SS.
Don't tell me. You want to be a doctor, right?
Yes, Uncle Greg. Oh, I have to go now. I need to get something for Papa in the market.
Okay, that is fine. I'm going out too. We'll walk you down to the bus stop. That was 2 weeks ago, Aki.
Okay, Greg, that was 2 weeks ago, and you have been walking her to the bus stop every morning.
You are not mad, are you? I mean, she's still at home. I hear sounds from the other side of the room, but no Chioma.
So?
She's hardly ever outside again.
So?
I think something is wrong with her.
Did you say they are in the next room?
Yes.
Simply knock on the door and ask why she is not in school. By the way, the fact that she calls you Uncle Greg has gotten into your head. Better go and marry so somebody can call you dad. I hate uncles.
Aki, you are an uncle to your sister's son.
No prize has been awarded. Besides, we are talking about you and Chioma. I still don't like uncles.
Yeah, I remember. Did you get the beat I asked you?
No. Went for rehearsals yesterday and got home very late and tired. In fact, 3 a.m. if I remember.
Hey, Aki, the streets are dangerous at night. How many times have I warned you? No.
I saw Chioma's dad. He was walking very carefully, drunk as a lord. He peered at me and said, "Am I know you?" And I said, "No." We both laughed.
Aki, were you drunk too?
No, your Gregship.
But she waited up for him or he walked out. I heard quite a lot of shuffling noises.
Greg, what were you doing awake at that ungodly hour?
Minding my sleep. The noise woke me up.
He was drunk.
I am still worried about Chioma.
Oh, have you seen Medusa?
Medu who?
Mama T's new baby.
Oh, new baby? When was she pregnant?
I meant the new short and peppery one.
Oh, okay. You mean Olayinka? She went shopping with Miss Roberts.
She almost killed me because I simply said hello.
I simply avoid talking to her. Come, I want to show you something in the office. Chioma, are you okay? I know you are in the room.
Yes?
Sorry, sir. I thought I had someone sobbing and assumed maybe Chioma might be needing help.
Like you are her mother or doctor who can treat a simple case of malaria.
Maybe I can help you take her to the doctor.
I am now jobless, right?
Just being a neighbor, sir. May I say hello to her?
No. Take your face out of my door. At this rate, Greg, the man will be right to accuse you of anything.
Akin, I think something is going on in that room. When I saw Chioma very briefly yesterday, there was a frightened look on her face and she looked really scared.
She is living with her father, for heaven's sake.
She's only about 14 and I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong.
Like what could be wrong?
I wish I can name my fears, but I'm scared for her.
I think you may be imagining things.
It is just a gut feeling that something is not right. How can I be sure?
You know, those years when I lived with that monster, I could not even talk to anyone. The most painful was whenever my mom visited. I would stare with longing at her, wishing I could just go home with her. Be a farmer, mechanic, or whatever, but at least sleep free of the nights of horror when he was too drunk to zip his fly and I was asked to make him sleep.
Aki, you are frightening me.
No, your fear is beginning to get at me. Why in heaven's name wouldn't you mind your own business? There might be nothing wrong.
You don't think so too? Oh, should I go to the police?
Greg!
Just for a second. Have you ever heard of Nigerian police preventing a crime or acting the fears of a neighbor? They will simply assume you want the girl for yourself and that you have a bad case of sore grapes with Chioma's father. Okay. Where is the mother, by the way?
Are you asking me? Wonders will never end. Can we go?
Oh Lord in heaven, it is Chioma. She's covered in blood.
Where is the father?
Aki, help me with her. We must get her to the hospital. We will get you to the hospital, Chioma.
My stomach. Am I dying? I hope I'm dying.
Taxi! Hospital!
Should I stay and let her father know?
Let us just get to the hospital.
Who is the next of kin? We have an emergency here.
She's just a neighbor's daughter. I think the father is still at work.
Papa ran away. When I started feeling too much pain, I told him it was painful.
What was painful, Chioma?
Someone attempted a crude form of abortion by introducing a strange chemical into her body. We will have to take her to the emergency right now. I hope we can do something.
Please, doctor, let me die. Nobody will ever want me again. Papa said I'm his daughter, so he owned me. He raped me when he was drunk and tied me to the bed so he can always do it when he comes home.
Excuse me, I have to stand outside. I'm going to throw up.
Your father raped you and tried a crude form of abortion?
She's losing consciousness again. We have to take her away now. We will talk later. Don't go anywhere, please.
A father can turn his own daughter to a sex slave and rape her at his pleasure? This is a nightmare. I must wake up.
My baby, she know me now. Okay, inside the car, my baby, she want to dance. The boys, the girls, they want to start to cruise. Hey, what you mean? Hey, my baby, anywhere she go, anywhere she enter. Start to dance and start to move her waist. My baby, you are number one. Baby, you be number two. Who put in a menu, akabaka. Who begin a memo, sara sara. One minute, hey, what you mama?
Sometimes you think it's a nightmare, but it happens. Some says when the shit hits the fan, then there's trouble all over the place. You are listening to the survivors. What will push a man, even drunk, to rape his own daughter, and at the end of the day insist that because, like they will say in some parts of the country, Nami Mariam, Nami give am belle, which one be your concern? And the statement is as stupid as the people who make them. I have on my panel today, as usual, Blessing Timidi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I also have Kunle Oluyide, Adekunle Oluyide. Let me call you by your proper name.
Thank you, listeners.
Ayokunle Ajishafe is back again with us.
Good to be here.
Serena Grace is here today. She's going to be talking with us as well. So, can anybody tell me a very reasonable reason why a man will rape his own daughter? Whatever the reason. And I'll start ladies first.
There's no reasonable reason to justify incest, which is another form of rape or sexual interaction between family members. In the case of a father and his child, it's just the father being a rapist, not protecting his daughter, because a father is supposed to at least know better. Nothing can justify it, sincerely, because even the holy books frown upon it. And in certain cultures where relatives can actually marry, the relatives that get married are not the ones who are very close. They have distant relatives, so nothing can really justify it. It's always hard to wrap
What
one's
is
head.
stupid is stupid, right, Ayo?
One cannot wrap one's head around it.
I'm trying to bring myself to comprehend. As a writer too, I love to put myself in the reality in which people find themselves. I'm trying to put myself in that reality to understand why a father would rape the daughter. And I'm yet to fathom why it should happen.
You are busy fathoming. You can go ahead and fathom all you like. The reality of the situation is it happens. Fathers rape their daughters, and the situation has been brought into the news for as long as we can remember. People talk about the fact that they raped their own daughter. There was one recently in which the father complained that it was the daughter that was tempting him. That when the daughter was busy tempting him, he even accused the daughter of seduction because the girl got pregnant. And that's some of the basis for this story. Benedicta.
I'm going to start by saying realization of oneself. Maybe as a father, they didn't see themselves as a father to that child. Because from the first instance, if you can see yourself as a father to a particular child, your thinking direction will be totally different. And there are some things you would not do. In fact, you won't even want the daughter to talk about boyfriends or something, not to talk of you doing it. Aside, I'm still leaving aside the fact that, let me say, spirituality. Some people tend to send nemesis to some men, maybe because of something they've done somewhere. So as a result of that, they do such. It happened during my university days. There's this particular lecturer. The whole school knows him. Even if he's teaching you, he's not lecturing you, you know him. Not long before I left the school, he was said to rape his 2 daughters in primary school.
He got drunk?
No, they were like, nothing happened. They didn't even know. It was after he was through with it, he was trying to realize what just happened to me. Like, did I just do it? And students were saying maybe there was a spiritual attack. Maybe one of the students he actually dealt with decided to visit him in a different sense. But aside the spirituality of this case, if you've not seen yourself fathering a child, you wouldn't even try some things. You wouldn't say your child is seducing you because you are the child. You should talk to, what are you wearing? Go and change your dress. That is supposed to be your relationship. So you don't even think to the area of seduction or something.
He said the daughter was always coddling him and he was always dressed sexily, and so he didn't have a choice. And by the time he realized what had happened, lo and behold, she is pregnant. And what did he say to defend himself? He said it is the daughter who should be penalized.
Basically, I think that control takes different dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And a father-daughter sexual relationship is also born out of control on the part of the father. Because sometimes...
Will your daughter ever excite you? Will you now start looking at your daughter as just another female, or you will see her as someone you should protect?
Well, the truth is, in some cases that we've heard about, the men actually see it as if they are protecting their daughters.
By raping?
They don't see it as rape since the person is their daughter.
But she didn't say yes.
Well, how many men understand the agency of a woman? They understand that a woman has agency, she has rights to give or take away consent, irrespective of who she is to you. So,
you're upsetting me. I don't know
a
what.
father in Abuja that raped his daughter and she got pregnant, he said that she was already blossoming, having breasts, this one, that one, and he did not want men outside to spoil her life. So he just felt, okay, since it is sex the men out there will give her now, let him cuckoo give her the sex. So that is control. The
Excuse
same way
me.
Benedicta was saying, you will tell your child, go and remove your dress. That is control. Control might also come in the form of, oh, okay, she's my child now. Instead of one guy helping me to spoil her life out there, let me cuckoo just do
He
it
just
for her.
spoiled her life.
They don't see it that way. They do not see it that way. That is the thing, man. They don't see it that way.
Kunle is about to commit harassment. Can I
But
bring
it's
Kunle to the
actually-
mic, please?
It is. You can never wrap your head around it. Actually,
Honestly, for me, Fela sang a song, and the song says, I did look, I did laugh. When you hear some things, they sound very absurd, and some things are just naturally a negation to ethical decency. A father-daughter relationship, having sexual relationship. Because for me, I have sisters, and I didn't give birth to those sisters. They are my sisters. My father gave birth to them. I cannot think of having sex with them, let alone a father who has fathered a particular lady, now thinking of having sex, then going to the point of having the sex for real. It doesn't make any sense. And
But not only that, he accuses the daughter of having seduced him.
he's just
No,
He's trying to
responsibility. That's just it.
That's a height of irresponsibility.
Exactly.
I was telling someone a couple of days ago, and I said, there are girls within the environment that cannot arouse me for any reason. She said, why? I said, I knew this girl when she was wearing pants and running around the streets.
So how can you be sexually
I'm
aroused
like,
when you see your own
hello,
daughter?
all these things you are carrying that boys are running after you, man, we knew you when you were nothing, so please save it.
That's
I
because
think
you
there
just
is
have-
a
you
kind of
just have that
psychological
mentality.
problem.
It's just you. Because 2 weeks ago, I was talking to a group of teenagers, and the bulk of them, they are growing faster than their ages. So you see a 12-year-old, and she's looking, my daughter now, so you see them, they are looking bigger than their ages. And when I was talking to them, I asked them, I said, the teenage boys, are they really the problem? They said no. And I asked them, I said, it's the men, right? They were all shouting, yes. And I'm like, sometimes even your friends' fathers size you up. And they were like, Auntie, how did you know? Even the ones that were there when we were born be looking at you and say, you are fine, shao. They be sizing them up. So just like he said, it's irresponsibility, but many men do not see it as irresponsibility. A man that was caught one time said it started from the moment he realized his daughter was beautiful, and then he internalized it to the point that she became sexually appealing, and he just had to do it.
I'm shaking my head, though you can't see me. I simply cannot take it in. Because when you put it in the reverse, it's like a daughter suddenly finding the father attractive. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Please, can we say this is as a result of one problem psychologically, maybe a kind of psychological configuration on the part of the man, because it doesn't make sense. How will you fall in love with your own daughter? It's unreasonable.
I have not seen anything trying to buttress it as a psychological disorder. Let's hope that one day we don't get to that point where they have to say, oh, it's a psychological disorder.
There's
There's
no need hoping about that. It can't happen.
I
Does
just
not make sense.
I just know that it is misinterpretation of affection that you already have for your child, because we all have affection for
I
our
don't
children.
think the father had affection in the beginning. No. I think the father simply saw that as a female body that happens to be his daughter. We were the one who described it to him as a daughter. As far as the father saw it, it's just a female body.
Sorry, I also feel it is a self-esteem issue.
How?
For me, I feel the guy is not confident enough to walk up to any other lady outside. He feels.
Excuse me, I have lived in a situation in which the man is an Urobo man from somewhere in Delta State. Generally, they don't see anything wrong with it. That's why I started it with that slang from that side. Na my pikin, na me get am, na me give am belle, which one concern you? And he will say it openly. It's very, very common within a certain tribe. I don't want to mention that so that I don't come on me like a ton of bricks, because I lived amongst them and I saw the level. I would like to use the word depravity, but I'm not sure I'll be right, since I don't think it is generally common with such men from that side of the world. But they don't find it really odd. So it's one short step from making love to your daughter to even raping the daughter. And in this instance, the child was tied to the bed because the father gets drunk every night when he leaves his factory where he is the security guard. So where is the mother, and why has there been no response from the mother?
Yeah, let me bring this in. I think it starts from the personality of the father, the natural personality of the father, the way he relates with other ladies outside. When he sees a figure, some guys complain that the dresses ladies wear is the one that tempted them to do this. The point is, those kind of person would do anything if their daughter too decided to do such without correcting the daughter or guiding the way. Now, the personality that I can do this with any lady, as far as it is a lady who has the curves and the shape and is matured enough. Yeah, and it is
a 14-year-old girl.
Let me
is
make you
flat
laugh.
as a ball.
Let me make you laugh. There are many things people who abuse. Let's use men, for example. There are many things men who abuse children sexually do inside that they can never attempt outside.
We are still on the program To the Survivors, and we've been talking about unreasonable relationships between a father and a daughter, and we also have heard about instances where a mother finds her son attractive. You're listening to the program To the Survivors.
I was saying that it's not about dressing, it's not about even religion or somebody attacking them spiritually. It's mostly basically about control and then how you internalize the affection you have towards your child. Because we've heard of women that say that while they are breastfeeding their babies, especially their male babies, they feel sexually aroused. And for someone who has also had kids, it sounded very strange to me, because I'm like, when your child is sucking your breast, it's a different feeling entirely from when a man, a lover,
Or
a
your
husband, is sucking your breast. There are two
Or the
different
father of
feelings.
that infant.
There are two different feelings at all, but it's the reality for many people. And you see that such mothers, if they internalize it and dwell on whatever feeling they had initially, when that child grows up, they'll make attempt or even sleep with the child. So it's basically about control. Many fathers think, okay, then go spoil her for me outside. Since it's sex, they will give her outside. Let me give her the sex inside, which is a very wrong ideology.
Excuse me, because I was going to ask, is it just sex or is it a relationship that you want to teach a child how to handle? Creative.
First of all, let me give an example. I heard about something here in Akure that a father has been sleeping with his daughter. The mother is aware, but the mother does not know what to do. She's
I
aware.
don't even believe that.
She does not know what to do. She was
The
talking to
mother
a
is
lawyer.
aware
Yes,
that the
she was talking
husband
to
is
a lawyer that she noticed that the father is sleeping with the daughter, but she doesn't know what to do.
She should ask Google.
She should ask.
Google.
It's
You
not
need
something
to be
talk about it,
you
but
need
I
to be
mean,
courageous. You need to talk out. You need to tell people. You need to shout. Let all the whole world know. Okay, my husband is sleeping with my daughter. Please help me out. Not you keeping quiet now.
What about the daughter? Does she not know that it is wrong?
That is
or she forgot that that's her father.
that is I don't know. Maybe the father has brainwashed, but there's no how you can brainwash a
Which
daughter.
detergent did the father use?
I don't know.
It still boils down to how you interpret the affection between you and your family, because the truth is, family members have affection towards each other. Yes, it now depends on how you groom it. There are fathers who will attempt to maybe try something sexual funny with their kids, and that child will hate the father for life. And there are some that will go with the flow. So it depends on the affection you have for your family member and how you groom it. How you, especially,
I think
girls are
basically
close to their fathers.
We should look at
It's
it as
easy
it's a
to-
Freudian thing. Let's look at it this way. When we started having children, how do you touch your child? The amount of molly cuddling that goes on, the amount of physical touch. There comes a time when you should control the way you hug your child, control the amount of physical laxities that you have amongst each other. When you are used to that, the bottom line is this: is a relationship between a man and a woman. The idea of relationship is an idea, and it can be interpreted the way Blessing explained according to the level of your understanding of this relationship. If your body is more physically attuned to touch, you might misinterpret the touch of your father or the touch of your daughter. When you look at it strictly, this is a man and a woman. And that's why it is understood that when a child is approaching puberty, you start educating that child about certain touches, neither from your uncle nor from your auntie. About the same thing is touching, because her emotional impulses have grown and have changed, just like the father's impulses has not come down. That's my own personal opinion. All he's seeing at that particular time is a female body. And I can see Ayokunle is shaking his head while he's drooping his head.
God help us.
Amen.
Well, like Blessing had said, so God really needs to help us, and we need to help ourselves. When you begin to misinterpret the affection, I have a cousin, I think we're second cousins, who from when we were young, we call ourselves boyfriend, girlfriend. She's married now. But the truth is this: even till tomorrow, we still see ourselves as boyfriend, girlfriend, but nothing really happened between us.
It's an issue of orientation.
So before she got married, she told her husband, this is my first boyfriend. Before any other boyfriend is this one boyfriend. Until tomorrow is still this one boyfriend. So in spite of the fact that nothing happened between us, we just had this closeness, we had this feeling for each other. But we also understood that these are family members and there are boundaries that should be placed and they should not be crossed. So when we have that at the back of our mind, we would know how to control ourselves, control our urge, limit ourselves to certain things. And if you think you really, really, really need, there is no shape your child, your daughter can have that you won't see outside there. Please go outside.
You're listening to The Survivors, and we've been talking about the relationship between a father and the child, and Creative Jimmy added another one, the relationship between the mother and the son. Blessing actually started it off with the breastfeeding issue and the mother, and
Jimmy had talked about.
I am shaking my head just trying to make sense of all that I'm listening. Now, let's come to another point. How do we help? What can the government do? It's okay to just berate the government, to say they're not doing this, they're not doing this. We are the citizens that the government governs. What do you think we can do? What can the government do? Now, let's not talk about ourselves. Okay. We know it's an issue. What are the things? Are there clinics, houses, safe houses, bodies, apart from the gender force or something you talked about? Force gender unit of the police. Are there other units by the government that we can go to? Are there hotlines? Now, those who have confusion about their sexual orientation and likes can go to. Are there ways? I just keep asking these questions. What can the government do to help?
Okay, one key thing the government can do is to form partnerships with the private and civil society. Presently in Ondo State, we are lagging behind. We are hardly ever on the radar of donor agencies or international NGOs such as UNFPA and all that. It's just the work of a few advocates that is making Ondo State being represented. So government has to be intentional about these partnerships so that everyone is involved. The government can partner with a hospital or hospitals, so there will be designated hospitals where victims of rape, incest and all that can go to for treatment, either free or at a very subsidized rate. The government also needs to work with international NGOs. For example, in Kaduna State right now, Kaduna is partnering with UNFPA and other organizations to create safe spaces, safe houses. Even Ekiti is benefiting from that too. The government of Ondo State has to be proactive with those partnerships. The helplines are very important. We need those helplines to be working. You call the helpline.
Somebody should actually pick the line.
Yes, somebody should. They are working. You call and it's a ring. Nobody is picking. We need people to actually pick up the phone. If it is a burden for the ministry, maybe the ministry can partner with certain civil society organizations and distribute these helplines to them so that these civil societies can also always report back to the the ministry. But partnership is really the key thing the government needs, because the truth is government cannot do it alone. All hands needs to be on deck. So as we're partnering with the religious sector, we're partnering with the private sector, we're partnering with civil society, we're partnering with donor agencies. That is very key. And one other thing the government should do is to revive the adolescent friendly center that is domiciled at the State Specialist Hospital. It will really go a long way to ensure that adolescents visit
and that they are
seek
ensured
services.
confidentiality.
Yes, I was even coming there. One key reason why adolescents don't like to visit that place is there is no confidentiality. If I write in front of you there, the person you have spoken to is already telling the next person that you know, and nobody wants to be discussed. Some friends don't even want you to discuss what they have confided in you to the other friend. So they need to revive that, and then they also need to train them. There's a need for training. There's a need for integration of young people into that space. We have elderly people there,
and therefore they don't understand.
They do not understand the reality is, and then they should also tell them to keep their religious bias. I don't want to mention names, but many names have always been recurring that whenever we go to the adolescent friendly center, XYZ person is always preaching the gospel to us, holding our hands and praying. We need to be realistic that these things are happening, and we cannot pray them.
To do with religion.
Yes, we cannot pray them away. We need to be proactive with our partnerships, with existing structures, with building new structures also.
The question I wanted to ask, how can we encourage this young adolescent? For example, the kid that was raped by her father. I'm trying to imagine a kid being raped by a father and how she can come out to talk about it. Who should she go to? Should she go to her mom to talk about it? Can she talk?
Well, it depends. Some mothers are not easy to talk to because already you can never know somebody's reaction. Do you understand? And the truth is, many mothers, they hear that kind of thing, it is their husbands they will support. So you have to,
not
that's why
not necessarily if the mother is educated enough. When I say educated, I don't mean in book education. Is exposed enough to understand that the child is already
how many mothers out there are that unbiased? The truth is, even many women who are educated in that light that you're talking of will rather shame the child and try to cover it up because they want to keep the home. So if an adolescent friendly center is strengthened, these are the things people can adolescents can go and talk about there, and then they'd receive training, counseling on whatever issue they have brought up. Because I know that, for example, the adolescent friendly centers in Lagos, adolescents go there, ask for family planning, ask for some that have had issues with teenage pregnancy, go there, they get counseling. The ones that do not want the babies, they have avenues for safe abortion. You know, so we need to be realistic that these things are happening, and whatever intervention we are going to come about will have to be unbiased, free from religion and culture and all that.
I also think we need to do a lot of things by having people sponsor enough or a lot of media aids. Most things we adopt or we imbibe into our culture or into our society are things we pick up from entertainment majorly. What we see, what we watch, movies. If we have productions, movies, performances, musicals that speak out
against
and prefer solutions, you understand, that encourage some of these things we've been talking about. By the time you watch a movie, the first movie advises you to go to adolescent friendly center. You watch another movie, it says go to an adolescent friendly center. You watch another movie, it says go to an adolescent friendly center. Now people begin to gradually imbibe that culture, but by the time we have the media, because I believe if you want to sell anything to the world,
it's called social propaganda. That's what we call it. And what we mean by that is the media, as much as it educates, should also inform and should help us to sustain whatever we call our culture. And maybe it's the right time for me now to invite anybody who is listening who wants to support this particular program to please talk to us. We want to be able to reach as many people as we can. We want to be able to continually have issues to talk about this, point out what the problems are, and help us understand each other better.
And not just on radio, also on TV.
I am anywhere you ask me to be, and you are anywhere you are asked to be. Please, if you are interested in being part of this issue, bring in your adverts, bring in your programs, support us, sponsor us. We'll be happy to do that. We'll be happy to bring out these issues so that we get to know what it is we're doing and how far we're going. We have quite a lot to talk about. I know very well that we will not be able to finish it. So I would like to thank our psychologist in the house, Blessing Timidi, an activist and a very vocal activist at that. I would like also to thank Ayokule Ajishafe, who is busy asking us to promote films on that. Creative Jumi, Serena Grace, Benedicta, Kunle Oluide. I wish we can just go on and talk, but then we don't have the time today again. Don't forget, you have messages, you have comments you want to make about this particular episode or all the episodes you've heard before. Contact us on 0803-472-3894. Once again, 0803-472-3894. SMS only on WhatsApp or even as a text. To the Survivors, a program on rape, sexual violence, and domestic violence. It will come up every Wednesday from 12:15 p.m. to 1 p.m. on this station, Breeze FM 91.9. Tune in, send your messages, be one with us. Rape is a stain on humanity. Let's stop and act against all issues of rape. We would like to thank our sponsors, Robert Taro and friends, who have gathered around to ensure that we can have this program. Like we've always said, if you do have questions, thoughts, suggestions, please send text to WhatsApp 0803-472-3894. I'd like to thank Oluwaseun Olajorin for being the hand on the button, peaceful, patient, and enterprising for all the time we spent together. I'd also like to thank Fumi Olasogba, the executive producer of this program, for believing and deciding that we're worth celebrating and giving us the opportunity to come on her station. This is Biola Olatude. I'll see you next week.